may take a picture of you guys after like the interview. Maybe before anybody.
I know a fair portion of your next test will be over Cuba-related items, so this is some stuff you're going to be asked about later. So stay tuned in, do a good job with it.
Alright, so for this next subunit, we're going to cover the Cuban Missile Crisis. So everyone just write down the Cuban Missile Crisis. You don't need to write these down, this is just for me to organize. And well, I'm going to go over this real fast. But the manifest destiny in Cuba, what they have in common is that the U.S. feel that, they're destined by God to expand the territory and to occupy land for resources and for more place for people to live. Cuba fall right into that because Cuba is a potential slave state before the Civil War. And the Monroe Doctrine basically say that European nations cannot get involved in the Western Hemisphere. Now, what colony is Cuba? I know Cuba is a colony, but what nation is it under control?
The U.S.
Spain.
Germany.
So, with the Monroe Doctrine, when Spain had basically taken over Cuba since 1511, the U.S. decided, you know what? They're not really paying attention to our doctrine. So in a way, we have to kick Spain out. Let's see. After the Civil War, when slave states doesn't really matter, Cuba is a very important trading partner. Why is that? What does Cuba have that we
Don't have.
What do we drink if we want to wake us up?
Coffee.
Coffee. So coffee beans, right? And what else does I almost blurred out the answer. What else does Cuba have? That's in your Pepsi.
Sugar, soda, Pepsi.
Sugar.
Sprite, sugar, soda.
So yeah, Cuba is basically the largest exporter of sugar, coffee, and tobacco at this time. So Cuba is very important for us. So obviously we kind of want to annex it, take it over, make it our state. That way we can take all the profit in. So now we get into the Spanish-American War. And basically during this time, well, in 1895, Cuba and Spain has already been fighting for a while for Cuban independence. Now, Cuba has been fighting with Spain since, I think, the 1868 for independence. That took 10 years. They didn't win that war, so to start again in 1895. The U.S. decided to get involved this time. And what reason does the U.S. use to get involved in the Spanish-American War?
The export.
Because we're going to get that.
Besides the export, because obviously we kind of want Cuba for ourselves.
Because they're communist?
Is that?
Because they're communist?
No. Communism was not an idea in 1898 by now. But
It will be, but yeah, too early for that yet.
What blew up? What boat? It's true.
It was a passenger boat.
No, it's like a military boat.
Yeah, it is.
And like
What's the name of that boat?
Oh man, it's like Missouri or something.
Close.
As a U.S. state, it's still where I am.
Tennessee.
I don't know.
Maryland.
What's the rhyme with pain?
Maine.
Maine. All right. So after the explosion of the U.S. battleship Maine, the U.S. decided to get involved. Now, was the battleship really shot down or exploded by Spain?
No.
What really happened?
An accident.
Yeah, it was an accident. Apparently, an engine malfunction. There was some gunpowder inside the engine room, and it just exploded. But you know what? That was a good enough reason for us to get involved. That's the type of yellow journalism. It's basically I guess you can say almost a lie, but it works. So after the U.S. got involved in 1898 in April, the war ended in August. So it's only about 3 or 4 months of fighting total. So basically, Cuba have been fighting Spain since 1895, like I said, and it kind of weakened Spain a little bit more. But once we got involved, we kind of closed the deal. So after the war, Cuba become an independent nation after being a colony from 1511 to 1898. Now, the U.S. Army remained in Cuba until 1902. Why? The U.S. Army, after the Spanish-American War, decided to remain in Cuba until 1902. Why? What does Cuba does not have after the war? A government. So what did the U.S. do? They tried to set it up for them, right? So, I don't know, for like a minute, can everyone talk with the neighbors and discuss what the U.S. want Cuba to do, government-wise? Like constitution, laws.
Probably wanting to be like democratic.
But would they win? What is giving
Like they want,
What was the question?
The question is, take a minute to discuss with your neighbors what the U.S. and Cuba decide to do, government-wise.
Well, basically, Cuba themselves now. I think they were good. The army is so much in the last
they wanted something. That's what we did.
You're supposed to talk to him. He's supposed to talk to him. He's like this.
All right.
Bye.
So does anyone want to share what they think? What the U.S. and the Cuba does? Yeah, Jay.
They want like a government like ours. They don't want a communist government.
Definitely they want democracy, right?
Yeah, democracy. That's the word.
What else? They want to trade? That's a good point. Very good point. What does the Cuba want constitutional-wise? Yeah. Any more? All right. So, you don't need to write all this down, but just get the basic idea down. So the U.S. decided to write a Platt Amendment in 1901. Basically, Cuba during this time decided to write its own constitution, but once the U.S. read or read over it, Cuba did not discuss or have anything involved with the United States. So the U.S. kind of look at it and go, well, that ain't right. We kind of help you want your independence. Why are we not in your system? Basically, what the Platt Amendment does was it barred Cuba from making treaties with other nations. Now, how does that affect Cuba?
Yeah, they can. They don't have access to it.
They don't have any allies. They can't make trading, contract with other nations, right? So basically, with that, Cuba have to go into talk to the United States officials to talk about treaties, to talk about trading, what they can do, what they cannot do. And for the second part, the Platt Amendment gave the U.S. the right to intervene in Cuba to preserve independence, life, and property. Where have we seen that before?
In the First Amendment.
In what constitution?
Oh.
In our constitution, right?
Yeah.
The U.S. Constitution.
Now, it does not say that Cuba's constitution have, chance to have life, property, and pursuit of happiness. Basically, what this means is that the U.S. can intervene in Cuba whenever it feels like it. Like, for example, in 1906 to 1909, the U.S. Army returned down to Cuba to put down rebellions. They disbanded the Cuban military and replaced it with a U.S.-backed National Guard. But this time,
They got rid of Cuba's military.
yeah. So, Cuban military, the fought Spain. So, they disbanded the Cuban military and they replaced it with a U.S.-backed National Guard with whites only. What problems does that create? What ratio problem might actually create? Considering that Cuba have a large population of non-whites, Hispanics, blacks,
Yeah.
Mex.
Didn't we do that with Japan?
Japan?
For I don't know if you remember,
Yeah, at the end of the war, where we made them get rid of their military and we
Yeah.
became kind of big brother. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. If we get rid of their military, who do they have to rely on for protection? We want them to have to rely on us. Do we really want them to be independent? Does it sound like?
No.
Just a little independent, as long as we decide what independent was. So with whites only, obviously it creates some racial tension. It kind of gives the, support the idea that white was superior to like non-whites. And in 1912, the U.S. Army returned down again, put down plantation revolts, which basically worker revolts against plantation with unfair treatment, unequal pay, and whatnot. And the last thing is, the Flag Amendment did was it required Cuba to permit American naval station on its territory. What station do we have down there, right now, that's still Guantanamo Bay? Yep. Even today we still have it. So, what's that? Since 1901, it's been at least like 110 years. Now, yes, go back a little bit. Now, after 1912, between 1915 and into the early 1920s, the Cubans decided to have its own presidential election and whatnot. After the Flag Amendment had been in place, the U.S. Army finally removed itself in 1902, but obviously come back down and intervene whenever it felt like it. So after a series of elections, Cuba finally elected its first president.
Yeah.
Okay. So Cubans elected Gerardo Machado in 1925. So his first term was from 1925 to 1929. During that first term, he modernized Cuba, making its economy strong, make the military strong, and make good trade relations with the United States. Now, what happened in 1929? Besides the election, but what else happened globally that involved us, mainly us, actually? What crash? The depression because of the stock market crash of 1929. So after the stock market crash, Cuba also collapses. Why? Because of the export. Cuba have been exporting sugar to the United States for like a while now. Once the stock market crashed, the sugar prices collapsed. Once that collapsed, the whole economy collapsed. They have nothing else besides. What did the U.S. forbid Cuba to do? To make treaties, to make trade contracts with other countries, right? So obviously, I say 90% of sugar export went to the United States. So once the United States cannot buy that anymore, Cuba will have to collapse as well. But in 1929, he won the election anyway. The difference is that there was more poverty this time. More jobs, more social unrest. So what did he do? What? He didn't really panic. He put it down with an iron fist, right? So from 1925 to 1929, the society was more democratic. There was no unlawful laws or civil unrest. But from 1929 to 1933, people were revolting, they were mad. So rather than trying to do it through diplomatic means, he decided to put them down. By killing them, by kidnapping them, stuff like that. It's a very bloody time during the 4-year span. Unfortunately for him, just by doing that, he kind of ticked off a lot of people. And so we got Fulgencio Batista over here. In 1933, him and his men staged a military coup and they overthrew him. So from 1933 to 1944, he ruled Cuba. Well, the difference is, from 1933 to 1939, he kind of ruled Cuba through a series of puppet governments. Cuba had elected its own, government officials and president. His title is military general. But in actuality, he did rule Cuba behind doors. So he was like a dictator at that time. Now, what happened between 1939 and 1945? World War II. Well, World War II ended like a year later, right? So after his first term of presidency, he decided to leave to the United States. Why? Because the U.S. was winning. So obviously he saw more profit over there. Now, did he really want to leave? Well, that's kind of debatable because he was still in a position of power. But it did kind of rule for almost a decade, or more than a decade. So he decided to leave anyway. So in 1952, he decided, you know what? I kind of like being a leader. I want to go back to Cuba. And he did. And in 1952, they held elections. And he did not win. So what did he do? He get rid of the competition. By doing what? Oh, they didn't kidnap him. What did he do with this guy? Overthrew him. So in 1952, he's like, yeah, I've done it before. I'm going to do it again. He come up with his own man, raise an army, and go into the government, overthrew the elected official, and place himself in power. This time, they claim himself dictator. Isn't that ironic? Since who did we fought from over to? We fought Nazi Germany, we fought Italy, we fought Japan. What type of governments were they? It was like dictatorship, right? So now, he went to Cuba and he didn't install a dictatorship again. Was the U.S. fine with that?
No.
No. They were pretty okay with that. Why?
Probably because they had the trade agreements still.
Trade agreements? What else happened after 1945? Who became our main enemy now? The Soviet Union, right? So we did a lot about positivism, right? The grand scale. Batista was very anti-communist. Or at least he's trying to portray himself that way to get the U.S. support. The U.S. buy that. So what's the common saying that we have? The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah.
Who was the enemy of the United States by now? Communism, right? So in World War II, we fought dictators. But now it's communism. A dictator that's an anti-communist is our friend now. So they supported him. Now, the Cubans are right with this. They didn't want another dictator.
No, probably not.
So what happened? So after Batista took over in 1952, the Cubans, you know what? We have too much like dictatorships already. We don't want Batista anymore. So finally, they decided we're going to have our own revolution. So then in 1952, the moment Batista took office again.
I know, I was just writing it down.
Okay. And we all know who this famous guy is, right? Don't you see him in t-shirts?
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I do.
Shane Heard.
I don't know who it is.
You see him in posters, you see him in t-shirts, advertising what? Or anarchy. Well, at least I can't remember back in high school I see a bunch of those shirts, which I thought was ironic because he was very anti-war. Capitalism. So by having his face on a shirt and you mass produce it to sell it, you think he would like that? So it's kind of ironic, kind of go against his ideal. So I don't know why people wear that, but it is what it is. So in 1952, after, I say in 1940s, he traveled all over Latin America. He witnessed a lot of poverty, a lot of inequality, barely any job for the poor, a very high social order status for the richest class. And he decided, you know what? I think my dream now is to become a communist. I like the idea of communism. Everyone is equal. Everyone gets a fair pay of what they actually put in. no more rich class ruling over the poor. So in 1952, he gathered his men and they decided to have a little revolution going. Now, Fidel Castro, they met in Mexico in 1955. But he was not really part of the revolutionary group, like the leader status, until 1957. And interesting little trivia. What was Fidel Castro's main goal in life? What was his biggest dream?
So rule Cuba.
Is this your rule, Cuba? Think of a sport that you want to play.
Soccer.
To play
Football.
football like baseball.
Baseball. In the 1940s, he's actually tried out for the, what's it?
Baltimore Orioles.
Baltimore Orioles.
Do you make it?
No.
Longer.
He tried out for a pitcher. It was like 5 miles short. Pitcher, like, you know,
5 miles per hour.
just a little short. So he didn't get, he tried out, but the team did not select him.
That sucks.
What would happen had he actually made a team?
Probably wouldn't have communism.
Probably wouldn't have communism, but he's your still rule. You would probably be one of the best baseball players, I hope, ever. The best pitcher ever.
It's all weird.
All right, so the Sahara Riastra, that is the base for the Cuban revolutionists, and where they plan to take over Cuba, or to at least overthrow Batista. Now, why is this such a good base, a good place to hide out?
Because it's a
That's what they're doing.
What were they doing?
making weapons.
Making weapons, planning.
Is this secluded? Is that like a secluded area?
Exactly, look at the picture. There's a mountain, of course.
Yeah.
Can an army actually march in there?
Yeah, probably not.
Slowly, but not with them tanks.
You can't do it with tank, right?
You know,
Like it's stuck in trees. But what
I mean,
happens if
artillery and bombardment.
they can bombard it, but never just set the whole thing on fire? How do you know that won't spread all over Cuba?
That's why I
That's
didn't do it.
smart.
That's why they didn't do it. What happens if the soldier try to march in by feet?
They can let them die.
Ambush.
Ambush him. What type of warfare is that?
Really?
Guerrilla warfare. Once we get into Vietnam, we're going to experience how that affects the U.S. Army and how it kind of demoralized everyone. So if you want to travel by feet in here, look at all this. Boys, you got trees, you got mountains. All you got to do is just stay in the high ground and just snipe them, or shoot them off, or set booty traps up. So obviously, Batista Army cannot handle that. And eventually, they kind of turn on him a little bit, and you say, you know what, we're kind of tired of fighting. So, important date to write down. On January 1st, 1959, the Batista regime finally fell apart. So after 7 years of fighting, eventually, he couldn't handle it. Can't actually go to the base and actually kill everyone. That was kind of impossible. It was too long, it was too tiresome, it was too costly. Now, the U.S. backed him through most of those 7 years. But at the end, they finally withdrew support. Why?
A different president.
Well, they knew Fidel Castro was going to take over. And they knew who was going to lose. So other than that, why did the U.S. finally decide that, you know what, we cannot support them anymore?
Because the communists were going to lose. Or were they
No.
going to win?
He was anti-communist.
Oh.
So what would happen if Batista get captured before they kill him, obviously? They torture him for what?
Information.
Information.
About what?
Anything. You can just talk about how the U.S. supported him, get all these files up, all the money that was protecting him, all the probably secret stuff. So, but before they can do that, Batista fled to Spain. So finally, the Cuban Revolutionary forces under Fidel Castro marched to Havana, which is what? the capital of Cuba, and established a new government. Were the people happy about it, or were they mad?
They're right.
They were very happy. They threw a parade, you know, all that, what do you call it, like a New York parade, where they threw all the people shredding stuff.
Mardi Gras.
I wouldn't say much. Probably a lot of rum. So in April 1959, Fidel Castro met with U.S. Secretary of State Richard Nixon. And that is the date that the United States recognized Cuba, or Fidel Castro's new government, and an official government. Now the real question is, was that new government communist?
Yes, it was.
Now, Fidel Castro would never say anything about what type of government
You just
the
do
new
what you
government
want,
would be.
and I just follow it.
Throughout all the years when he did revolt against Batista, he never say that I'm all for communism. That's what I'm fighting for. He never say anything about it. He only say I want to overthrow Batista because it's unfair. So, try not to write all this down. Just try to summarize what I say. In 1959, after Fidel Castro did took over Cuba, there were a series of reforms that he and his men did. The first thing is they reduced rent by 50%.
It's like housing.
Like housing, any type of rent. How's that a good thing?
They don't have to pay as much towards rent, and they could spend it on other stuff.
Who is that beneficiary for?
People.
For the people. And then the next thing they did was to raise the minimum wage. Who did that benefit?
The people.
The people. Then finally, he nationalized U.S.-owned utilities, such as railroads, places, like factories, and he gave it to who? The people. Well, actually, the government had collected that, but at least to give everyone what? A fair share of profit and a job, right? Now the U.S. look at these and they're like, okay, so it's kind of communist, but it doesn't really involve us and involve the Cubans. So finally, this act came along, Agrarian Reform Act of May 1959. Basically, what that act did was it allowed people to own 995 acres of land. Now, did everyone owe that much land? Probably not. But at least everyone was given a fair share of land to do farming, to do whatever they wanted.
So that was a maximum.
That was the maximum. I don't know why he didn't just say 1,000. Only 995 seemed like a good odd number to have. And then finally over here, export variation. Basically just taking a private property. So what happens when you do take private property? Who gets to own that? The government this time. And what private property did the Cuban government take from? The farms, factories, or the U.S.-owned factories and buildings in Cuba. They took over that too.
The main export.
Ooh, that's what it is.
Yep. So right here I said 2.5 million acres nationalized in 3 months. Whatever is in the 2.5 acres that belongs to the United States, they took it. So like factories, buildings, any other like jobs over there, take it from Americans, the government collected, and they give it back to the Cuban people. Now does that finally take off the United States? Who owns those businesses though?
The government.
The U.S. landowners, right? So here's an interesting little trivia. In Havana, there are a bunch of casinos, right? Who owns casinos?
India.
India. What type of gang are we talking about here?
Mob.
The mob. What famous one? The mob.
Mexican.
The mafia.